What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It's Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I will be reading the legendary prophecy of Ragnarok. This version comes from the book Viking Spirit by Daniel McCoy. With all that being said, let our story begin. One day, perhaps tomorrow, or perhaps thousands of years in the future, that dreaded time of which the prophecies have long spoken in hushed, furtive whispers will finally come to pass. The army of countless elite warriors that Odin has been amassing in Valhalla will pour out of their lord's golden hall to fulfill their long-awaited purpose. The simmering strife between the gods and the giants will at last come to a head, and the whole world will hang in the balance. The first sign of the coming of Ragnarok will be the Fimbulwinter, Great Winter, 3 winters that follow each other in a row with no summer in between. Darkness, ice, and wind will grip the earth and refuse to let go, and the sun will be pitifully distant and weak. All virtue shall leave humankind. Even the bonds of family will fail to restrain brothers, fathers, and sons from killing each other. It will be an age of swords and of axes, and no shield will remain in all the world that is not broken into pieces. The wolves who have pursued the sun and the moon throughout the millennia will at last catch their prey. Under the dark sky, the lands will heave and quake. Trees will be torn up from their roots, mountains will crumble, and valleys will be filled in. Yggdrasil itself will tremble and totter. Heimdall will blow the Galahorn to warn the gods of the impending disaster. Odin will desperately consult with Mimir's head, which was severed from his body so long ago in the war between the gods, to see if there is anything he can do to avert the inevitable. He will not like the answer he receives. Then those monsters the gods have taken such pains to get rid of will find themselves free. Jormungand, the great serpent who has lain in the ocean encircling the world, will rise up from the waves and slither onto land, displacing so much water that no one will be able to tell any longer where the land ends and the sea begins. Fenrir, the dreadful wolf, will break the chain with which he was bound. He will run furiously all over the earth, and his lower jaw on the ground and his upper jaw against the roof of the sky, devouring everything unfortunate enough to be caught in between. Fire will roar from his eyes and nostrils. Naglfar, nail ship, a long ship made from the fingernails of all dead men and women, will become unmoored from its former resting place at the bottom of the sea. When it floats up to the surface, the gods will recoil in terror at the sight of its countless oars, all manned by giants, and its helm captained by none other than Loki. Then the fire giants will arrive from Muspelheim, the land of elemental fire. Surt will lead them, all while swinging his flaming sword that shines brighter than the sun. They will march across Bifrost, the rainbow bridge that leads to the door of Asgard, and the bridge will snap and collapse under their weight. They will ransack the god's sanctuary, forcing its inhabitants to flee. All will converge at Vigrid, the place of surging battle, a plain no less than 100 leagues wide and long. There will stand on one side all the giants, along with Fenrir, Jormungand, and Loki. On the other side will stand all the gods, backed by Odin's army of dead champions. Odin will ride into battle first, and will come up against Fenrir. The wolf will swallow Odin in his gaping maw, but then Vidar, Odin's son and avenger, will stride forth and rip the wolf's jaws from his face, and that will be the end of Fenrir. Thor will long to come to the aid of his father, but he will be powerless to do so, for he will have his hands full with his own archenemy, Jormungand. Vigrid will become a morass of lightning, thunder, and venom as the 2 ancient foes finally face each other. Thor will slay the snake with his hammer, but by that time, his body will be so full of the monster's poison that he will only be able to take 9 steps before falling down dead. The god's ablest defender, Heimdall, will finally get the chance to take on the god's betrayer, Loki. Both will slay each other, as will Tyr and the wolf Garm, and Frey and Surt. All the other gods and giants will perish in the same manner. By that time, Surt's fire will have covered all the world. With no gods left to uphold it, its charred mass will sink into the sea from which it arose. Then the unbroken silence, stillness, and emptiness of Ginnungagap, the yawning abyss, will reign forever, unchallenged and uninterrupted. There are those who say that the downfall of the cosmos will not be final, and that after the land sinks into the sea, it will somehow arise again, fresh and green. It will yield vast crops without any work having to be done to sow, tend, or harvest them. The gods Vidar and Vali will survive to see that day, as will Thor's sons Magni and Modi. Balder and Hod will return, too, to join these other gods. 2 humans, Lif and Lifrasir, life and the one who strives after life, will have waited out the destruction of the world by hiding in a tree trunk, and they will then emerge to repopulate the earth. The daughter of the sun will rise into the sky and follow her mother's course, bringing a light even fairer than that of the old sun to the lands below. The gods will find in the grass golden game pieces that their forebears had once enjoyed. All will spend their days in merry pleasure, with no giants to disturb their contentment. A new, all-powerful God will reappear in the heavens, and he will rule over all with perfect justice and virtue. But those who say these things lack understanding, and have not attentively considered the lore that has come down to them.